Welcome, friends, to Tanked Up, the podcast all about video games and beer. I'm one of your hosts, Ben, here with Lucy.
Hello. It's hot.
It's very hot. It's sweat-inducing hot, especially when you're sat in these little boxy rooms just working away.
Yeah. Actually, I've been out in the garden for an hour and that just made me sweat more. So.
Well, yeah, I did. We picked up a paddling pool.
Ooh.
And
nice.
filled it up earlier in the week and just emptied it today and filled it back up again because I was getting lots of little bits in it. So we just rinsed it through, put some chlorine tablets in it to try and get it up ready for us to jump in it a bit later today. But yeah, went outside to do all of that and it was like, oh, I could just full face down in this right now.
Yeah, I just think how good it's going to be later.
Yeah, exactly that. To refresh us now, shall we open some beers?
Yes, please.
Perfect. What are you going to drink, Lucy?
I'm going to drink a beer from Little Monster Brewing Company.
Ooh.
I don't know if I've ever had before.
Okay.
And it's also a collaboration with Pipeline Brewing Company, who I'm also not too familiar with. But yeah, collaboration, it's called Finding Air. It's a 6.2% IPA. It says which hops. Idaho 7, Eldorado, Simcoe, Cryo. And, it says that it's got blood orange puree, blood orange juice in it, so...
Okay.
May taste like orange. So yeah, cool little can art. Devil's skeleton surfboarding.
Nice.
So yeah.
I haven't seen either Little Monster or Pipeline for a little while. Again, I've not been going out to bottle shops very much recently. But Pipeline, I think, are Cornwall way. I think Little Monster are Brighton way, I think.
Little Monster are in Chichester.
Oh, completely wrong then.
P.O.
Completely wrong.
What's up, Portsmouth? I don't know the country.
Yeah. It is that way. That's fine. I'm going to drink...
Brighton, Portsmouth, same thing.
They're around. They're
all those southerners.
Exactly. I am going to drink a collaboration as well. This is Heavy Blow New England IPA. It is from Attic and New Bristol Brewery. So it's a little bit of Birmingham, it's a little bit of Bristol. They have on the front the Sturchley Gorilla. I don't know what that is, but Sturchley Gorilla versus Alfred, which is obviously the New Bristol Brewery Gorilla. It is a Citra, Nelson Sauvin, and HBC 586 double IPA. No, New England IPA. They don't double it up at 7.4%. They don't give me much more than that. Oh, they do just around this bit. So it is from Attic, brewed up there. And it says, ladies and gentlemen, the main event. In the red corner, Birmingham's finest, the Sturchley Gorilla, from above the carpet shop. In the blue corner, today's challenger, blasting in from Bristol, New Bristol Brewery's very own Alfred. Two plucky challengers face off in the Midlands versus Southwest grudge match that promises to be full of huge, punchy flavours of citrus, berry, and tropical fruits. I like it. The recipe was from Sam F. It was brewed by Tim and Tom. Packaged by Charlie and designed by Piares. Don't know how you say that, but I guess that's the person who did, or the company who did the label. So yeah, a little bit of a big beer for an afternoon, but I'm only having one, so why not? Exactly.
Especially on a day like this.
Yes, I thought something a little bit more juicy might just quench the thirst slightly. Oh, that's a nice little pour there, Lucy.
Yeah. Didn't start off well because I think I spilled some of it on my keyboard.
Oh no, really?
There you go. Yeah, that's just me being used. Oh. Nice, but yeah, it's a very lovely looking beer. I'd say straw coloured. Just a bit dark in straw. Nice, foamy. Just pure white. Head, probably about 2 fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Smells. Can I smell the orange? I think I can. Yeah, I'd say it's probably mixed in there with a bunch of other tropical fruits like a bit of mango, bit of papaya maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it smells lovely.
Good. Looks nice.
Ooh, and it tastes nice. Oh, that's perfect. That is perfect. What was it? 6.2%. So as you say, maybe a bit heavier than you'd want to start with, but it's got a really, really, really refreshing. It's got a bit of bite. It's got a bit of crispness to it. I think the hops accentuate that, but it's got that. It just cuts through you like hot knife through butter. But I don't want a hot knife through butter. That's too much of a hot metaphor to use. Like
the sun through an ice cube.
Yeah, something. Some analogy. But yeah, it's got a nice sharpness to it. Not sharpness as in like it's sour or anything like that. Just an edge and a bite to it.
Nice.
But yeah, it's got that fruit. Try and pick out the orange puree and blood orange specifically.
Expect it to maybe be a little bit more bitter, perhaps, than sort of sweet and juicy.
Maybe just on the end. Maybe because you planted that seed in my head. But it has got a nice bit of bitterness to it. It's not overwhelming. It's not really bitter. It's got I think a nice, well balanced bitterness. I don't think it's too overpowering or strong. Or even if like we do like our more bitter beers, I don't even think it would be too much for someone who doesn't like bitter beers. Okay. But yeah, I think that's well balanced with just like it's got the same amount of like kind of fruitiness at the start of the taste and at the end and at the finish actually, because as I'm talking and everything like that, I had time to settle. I can still taste that fruit. So yeah, really well balanced. Really, you can feel the percentage in the alcohol burn maybe at the end, but it's not heavy. It's got a nice well-rounded body. It's probably, I'd say, maybe medium body. But even so, I think just the hops that elevate it and, make it, a bit crisp, a bit easy to drink. Nice bit of carbonation as well. Yeah, I'm really impressed with this one.
Nice, so, good.
Very good. Perfect.
Excellent. I had a little sniff. This one's very light. I suppose, as you would imagine with a New England IPA, it's a little bit lighter, a little bit sort of fruity, but nothing massive kicking out on the nose. It poured with almost no head, as you can see, but it's this lovely kind of orange. It's really deep for me. It's a little lighter, I think, on the camera than it actually appears. It's such a lovely light nose. But straight away, hit with flavour. So,
What kind of flavour? What flavour? Okay.
So there's quite a lot in here. There's quite a lot going on. There's a little bit of maybe sort of more, a little bit of citrus and maybe a little more tropical stone fruit going on. It's hard to pick out and balance out because things kind of kick in quite, not randomly, but it's sort of like, here's some citrus, here's some sort of more mango-y kind of flavours. Here's maybe just a touch of, like, not quite grapefruit, but something that's a little more, like, mouth-puckering, a little more chewy as well. There's something, it's sort of, it's a heavier flavour that I can't quite pick out. And it's not, as I say, it's not kind of that slightly more bitter grapefruit. It's not kind of getting into that honeydew melon kind of, it's not like an earthy sort of chewy flavour, but it's maybe something that's a little more sweet, but it's just being kind of balanced in a way that makes the sweetness a little bit more tangy. That's maybe the word I'm looking for. Something that's a little bit more tangy. Something that kind of edges on, not a refresher bar, but it's starting to get towards that tangy, not quite sour sort of flavour. So there's a little bit of a mashup going on that kind of hits not poorly, but it hits well. It's just quite a clash of a few flavours going on. And it dries out quite quickly. You can kind of get that dryness, a little bit of a grape from the Nelson Sauvin right at the end of the of the beer. What else did this have in it? Yeah, Nelson Sauvin Citra. So that's where those instant sort of Citra notes are coming as soon as you taste it. It's kind of that quick sort of, maybe a little bit more lemon and lime than kind of the other, sort of not edging towards orange or anything like that. But
just no head on it.
I like it. There's no head on it at all. I like the smell, but it's kind of, the smell of it is almost when you go to the tap room and you're sort of hit by the smell of like 15 different beers all sat there being drank by people, and it's kind of just that, like, oh, here's a little bit of it. Here's like a mango-y kind of beer. Here's a berry kind of beer. Here's a very citrus kind of beer. Here's an earthy kind of beer. Like everything, just that smell that lingers in the air is this smell. And again, that comes through in the flavour, but it is a little more nuanced in the flavour, and you can pick out those bits that are adding up to that. And I don't think that it's bad that it's these different clashing sort of flavours. I think that kind of works and gives it a very sort of tangy, refreshery, kind of like refresher bar type sort of feel to it.
Yeah, I mean, a bit of that description, and it's like just looking at it, but it convinced me it's like a sour you're drinking. So
there's a lot going on that can, all
the can as well.
Things as well. Yeah. You could absolutely pick this beer up and think to yourself, "Oh, I kind of know what I'm getting." Actually, the can art matches the kind of the very clashy kind of nature of the flavour a little bit as well. Yeah. What did they actually say it was? They just opened it up. The flavours of citrus, berry, and tropical fruits. So even then, they're not like, here's a little bit of kind of mango, here's a little bit of passion fruit, here's some sort of, a little bit of strawberry in there.
I'd say, with your description, maybe jack of all trades, master of none.
I would agree. Yes. Yeah. It's nicely bodied as well for 7.4%. It's quite soft in its mouthfeel. Very smooth. Excuse me. Already, so it's very carbonated as well. It's already starting to elicit the ability not to be able to talk very well, which is fine. But it's a nice beer. I'm just going to drink it, I suppose.
Yeah.
I've forgotten how to do these things. How do we do this thing? Drink the beer and talk about some stuff.
Usually we talk about games afterwards, but games. I don't know if you've been playing games, because I've only been playing one game, and that's Into the Breach. So yeah. I don't know if we want to rehash that.
I have played one game. And how to kick this off. So I've got a preview code for Scathe, which is an FPF, a first-person shooter. A first-person shooter more in the vein of Doom. It's more in the vein of those 90s kinds of shooters, not in its aesthetic. It's gone for quite a slightly more modern aesthetic. It's not kind of cutting-edge graphics or anything, but it's a bit more kind of, it's not pixelated or anything like that. It doesn't have any kind of real style to its aesthetics. It's kind of a bit baroque. It's very kind of, if you just said this was a Warhammer 40k shooter and it wasn't demons, it was Warhammer kind of people, I would absolutely pick up on that. It's kind of that sort of...
It's got a very Doom 2016 kind of look, in my opinion.
It does.
Or at least in the screenshots.
It's nowhere near as good as Doom 2016.
I mean,
Doom 2016 is the pinnacle of that kind of...
Doom Eternal is nowhere near as good as
exactly. Yes, that's very true. Yes.
High bar.
The thing that they do kind of with this is it's not... Or is it procedurally generated? I think it's a procedurally generated map for your playthrough. But for the preview code, you're kind of given, here is the map that you will be playing through. And you play through levels, either having to kill kind of all the demons or do other stuff within that space, or just escape, basically. And you run through this map, run through this level, and you get to a little safe point and move on to the next one. And each of these creates these diverging paths around a little world, around a map. And you have to just move around it, collect, I think they're called relics and items, and then you get to like bosses and things. I've not good enough to have got to a boss yet. I've played a reasonable amount of time. I'll see if I can pick up Steam and tell you what I've played. A library, Scathe. I have played 2 hours.
Okay.
Of it, just over 2 hours. And I have, I think, done 3 runs, basically. And when I say 3 runs, that's kind of 3 goes at the same map. So moving through these diverging paths, taking whichever pathway I just decide to take, because when you're playing it, there's no way to tell kind of where you're going next. Each of the new spaces, you move into this at the end of the level or somewhere in the level where you see suddenly this like door with a green light in it. There will be a like a rune, just as a logo on the wall. I've got no idea what any of these runes mean. I don't know whether they have meaning, against just our designation for this next space, and whether the rune is tied to a specific map, a specific level, and because it's more procedurally generated in terms of where those levels are then placed across said map, that you're like, oh, that rune, I know now that rune is for this space. So if I go in there, that's
sort
what I'm going to have to
like
do.
Hades.
Yeah, almost. And so I can't talk to any of that sort of element of it because it is just one fixed space that we're moving through. So it's pretty hard. It's a pretty tough kind of game. There's no zoom on your weapon. It is primary and secondary
I'd be angry
fires.
if there were.
Well,
I'd be angry if there were. Aiming down sights in a Doom-like game.
Yeah.
Offensive, Ben. Offensive.
But it's got a like a dash as well. So you can kind of dash forward. It's on a cooldown and things. I haven't had any kind of melee options yet. It has only been sort of shooting. I've only picked up 2 weapons as well, which is like an automatic rifle and then a shotgun. And these...
as I can't remember who said it, but the quality of the game is always based on how good the shotgun feels. And if the shotgun's bad, it means the game's bad. How's the shotgun?
The shotgun's okay. Shotgun's not. It's not bad. It's not bad.
It has to be fantastic. If the shotgun isn't good, if you can't get the most visceral and satisfying weapon right, then what hope do we all have, eh?
Yeah, I think that's part of why I'm kind of bouncing off it. Everything feels very samey. Right? The shotgun kind of, the assault rifle. I had 2 weapons. The assault rifle, bap, 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 bap. The range on the assault rifle is obviously a lot longer than the shotgun. There's demons flying around the sky. I'm kind of trying to pick off, and even the assault rifle, kind of the drop off. It's not quite a drop off actually. It's just a randomness in kind of how the bullets spray out of your weapon. You can't sit there and go pap, pap, pap to do a single shot from your assault rifle with any kind of accuracy, which you would sort of expect from it not having any kind of zoom or anything like that. So the assault rifle can fire off pretty successfully at close range. So as demons are kind of swarming towards you, your assault rifle is pretty good. The shotgun, whilst it is more powerful and has a lower rate of fire, is the same as the assault rifle at close range. It doesn't really seem or doesn't feel like it provides me with any kind of difference. I don't notice whether it's got a wider spread, so it might be hitting more enemies. I don't notice if it travels through enemies, there's bullet penetration or anything like that. I've got absolutely no idea.
That's upsetting. It's why games like Overwatch and to a lesser extent Destiny, when I trade out their demos, I mean, we'll never say those are bad games in terms of their shooting. They're like top of the class. But I need that kind of like feedback, or it's like, I know this weapon does this kind of damage, or more damage, or less damage. I very much need that like kind of tactile feel to it. And if it doesn't, if a shooter doesn't have that, it's just like, not what I want.
Absolutely, and it's one of the turn-offs for me. And through my sort of 3 runs. I did. I just picked one. When you get into the first space, you can go kind of on 3 or 3 through 3 doors. So I just went through one, did a run through there. On my second run, I went back through the same door because I'd seen like multiple doors in levels, and I'm like, oh, I wonder how that branching path works, and I wanted to see how that worked. Suffice to say, on my second run, I did awfully and died before I got to be able to go through any of those sort of secondary doors that I didn't sort of experience. And it feels like it's a pretty tough game. There's lots of demons. They come at you thick and fast. They can overwhelm you pretty quickly. It can feel quite bullet hell pretty quickly as well. I think that's why they've, whether they added the dodge or whether it was a core mechanic kind of straight away, having that dodge is quite good for getting you out of sticky situations. You can't dodge backwards, which would be really helpful. But I think you get 10 lives to start off with to get as far through as you can. And once your 10 lives are up, you start right back at the beginning of the map again in that central room. So did my first run, got so far, did my second run, didn't get quite as far, didn't get to diverge off into different paths. So with my third run, I thought, well, from the beginning, I'll just go down a different path, see what's different, see how things change. And actually, that run has been the easiest so far. I don't know whether it's just because of the set of rooms that have been sort of, in this sense, pre-generated for the preview. But the enemy types that have come up, the amount of them, have been a little bit easier, let's say. And that is with me having, because it's all one kind of game, or at least it's on one save. So I could run through, and I've obviously discovered X amount down this way. I've now discovered X amount up this way. It's just when I hit my 10 lives, or if I've picked up an extra life during my 11 lives or 12 lives or whatever, brings me back to that central point, and then I have to start exploring again out through the spaces. So I don't know how far through I would have to get a third weapon to see kind of what was next. There's lots of ammo around on the ground which says you do not have this gun to use. I'm like, okay, cool, that's fine. That may be pre-generated again in the level, and I'd have to go somewhere on a different path to pick up that weapon, because the shotgun was just randomly in a room. I'm like, I'll go in this room, and it was the shotgun. So again, whether that sort of rune sigil that was in that exit would tell me that, oh, this is the shotgun room, you want to get in here every kind of time to do it, will be interesting to understand if that's the case. It just doesn't feel very good. I think that's my main takeaway from it. Like, I can see what they're trying to do, and I can see that there is a good game here. It just needs a lot of refinement. And I think kind of what I'm playing, yes, it's a preview build. I think it's out at the end of the month, towards the end of August, beginning of September. No, not a huge amount. I would, if they'd have said this is a preview build from like 6 months ago, I would go, yeah, absolutely, I can see that. Yeah, definitely. And maybe they can make things, change the guns to be a little more weightier or lighter, dependent on kind of what they are, giving a little bit of heft, a little bit more heft to the sort of sound effects, because a lot of stuff is very like flat. There's no, or at least doesn't feel like there's a huge amount of kind of difference in, say, like volume for weapons and things like that. Everything is kind of a tone. Graphically, everything is of a, or at least aesthetically, everything is of a tone as well. There's not a huge amount of difference between the levels. One of them might be outside, looks very similar to one that's inside. I can just see the sky instead. One of them had lots of trees in, but they were dead, dying, rotting trees. And it's like, well, yeah, I get it. I see why. I think I'm in hell, or at least I'm on my way to hell.
On Mars.
Yeah, everything on Mars, it's all shit there. But it's very similar to Doom in there's lots of bits in each of these rooms, in each of these levels as well. There's extra lives, there's runes to collect. You have to occasionally hit switches, which might start something running. A platform might lift, which you can find a way to jump onto to get over somewhere. So there's little hidden secrets, and you can see they've gone, we really fucking love Doom. Let's make something like that. And yeah, a couple of the choices are maybe not a misstep, but they're just a bit rote, and it just doesn't have that heft, as you say, Lucy. With weapons, you want that heft, and I think that's a really good kind of conclusion for the entire experience. It doesn't quite have that heft that you want from sort of a Doomer-like, even a procedurally generated type of thing where they're trying to do something else. You want something a bit beefier, a bit bigger from this.
Yeah. That's a bummer, but I don't know, maybe when you're mimicking, such a beloved game in Doom and then not focusing on, probably getting caught up in your passion and not focusing on how can we make something of our own. I mean, the differences are just going to be more glaring, because you're comparing something to Doom, which is, you feel for any shooter who just, wants to evoke that kind of style because, so many of us love Doom, but
yeah,
it's like you have to come out swinging if you want to be, just in the same room as Doom.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, looks okay. I mean, as in like the graphics. I like the look of it.
Yeah. It
looks like a Doom gun. And
it looks like a Doom game.
Yeah. But that just puts a microscope on it even more in that sense. Yeah, those weapons and the runes. I mean, yeah, it's like you're just opening yourself up for more criticism. Because it's just like not in criticism. I'm saying like they're copying Doom, but just more criticism, like more critical eye on the thing. So it's like, okay, this isn't like Doom. This isn't as well refined as Doom. So you're just opening yourself up for more comparisons at that point. But yeah, that's a shame.
And I can see a good product here. Absolutely see a good product here, and I can see that it would be one that people, if they just want to lose 10 minutes, if you've got 10 minutes and I just want to shoot some stuff, this would be reasonable because it's in such easy little chunks. Well, not easy, that's not the right word. The game is pretty, or can be hard in some of those rooms, but you can do like 10 minutes, be through one of those levels, move on to the next one, like, cool, I'm going to put it down for a bit. I'll come and see what this next level is when I come back to playing it. And then you lose all your lives, you go back to the beginning and you run through a different path, or you try and get somewhere else, or you start up a new save and it's a different map. It's a different way of being able to kind of move through the spaces. So there's a bit of kind of like, if they can get that balance and that feel just a little bit better, then I can absolutely see like a little community building up around this, of people being like, oh, I did this kind of run and this, and I got this and stuff. And things like, speed runs would be quite good around this because, again, you don't know what that map might be when you start the game. You might understand and know, if it is the way that it works, how those runes are that might tell you, oh, this is this room or this is this room. And so when you've got 2 exits in a map, you can go, well, I know this one, I'm going to go here. So I can see it being good. I think it just needs maybe a little bit of extra time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did check. It is the end of August, on the 31st, that it's coming out. Okay, so it's pretty close. They do have a co-op to it as well. I haven't experienced any of that, so I can't talk to that at all. So again, it might be an experience that you could jump into with a friend, whether that's probably over the internet, I would assume, rather than couch co-op, because everything is over the internet for multiplayer these days. So yeah, there might be, and there probably is, a bigger experience there. And whilst I might not have time to do, say, like a full review of the game, I think it might be something that when it's released, I kind of come back to and give a little bit of an update to, because it does feel like, with it being accessible in those sort of shorter bursts, then actually I'm in quite a good space for a game like that. I can sort of sit here and be like, cool, I've got 10 minutes, bam, 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 perfect, jump off, and then come back to it when I've got that extra little bit of time. So yeah, who knows? Not me. We'll see, if I've got time to be able to do that.
I don't. Yeah, well, I haven't played many shooters recently, so I don't know what I was just so let down by Doom Eternal. I don't know what if my ceiling is still Doom 2016. Like, am I still chasing that high, or I'm so down in the absolute dirt at this point in terms of shooters where I haven't played them in ages, that I'd take something that's just okay, that has a nice aesthetic. I don't know where I am.
I think the last shooter I played was Deathloop, looking at my Steam library, which was last year.
Game Pass soon.
It probably is, yeah. Well, that must have been around October-ish kind of time.
September, maybe.
Around
this time.
Yeah, accessible to a new audience. I think, obviously, Deathloop builds on kind of Bethesda Studios' experience with stuff. So, being able to sort of get a bit of kind of, the kind of movement around from Dishonored, getting a little bit of the shooting elements from sort of Wolfenstein and Machine games and tapping into them about that kind of stuff, or id with Doom and stuff. Although it is slightly different. It is much more Dishonored than it is either Wolfenstein or Doom. But that was that's a game with heft. That's a game that felt good. So again, it's not quite Doom 2016 levels, but it's a good and a very, very close, I would say, entry into sort of FPS if you prefer that style of sort of shooter. So as soon as it hits Game Pass, Lucy, fire it up and give it a go, because I think you'll probably spend an hour with it and either go, yeah, I really like this, or just go, nah, bounced off straight away. It's
one of those that I'm just not sure about, because I didn't like the first Dishonored, the few hours I played of it. Dishonored 2 seems okay. I do want to get back to that. Fortunately, don't think that'll leave Game Pass. Bethesda are owned by Microsoft, so I can take my time. But I really liked Prey. I thought it was imperfect in a lot of ways, but that kind of immersive sim aspect of it was just so good. I mean, from what I've heard about it, from you and what other people say about Deathloop, it seems like it's an immersive sim, but something that like kind of narrows your focus, so it's like you don't have like choice paralysis. That's what I don't
in a sense, yes. It kind of takes out the sort of takes out the immersive sim, and probably I would say is a bit more puzzly. You're whilst you have choices and you can say, I want to go here and I want to go here and I want to go here, or I want to do this, I'm going to take this person out in this kind of way. That all builds up to the much wider puzzle of having like one day of experience and having to hit bam, 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 all of those targets that you've got to get in that one sort of
roguelite to me.
I mean, in a sense, it is. You're building up more knowledge, but it is and it isn't.
It seems like a very, just like an entity unto itself, like just very hard to describe, and just does so many things with so many different genres that I think, as you say, it's probably like best I just try it for myself. But,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know, though, definitely. Because if it seems like that Hitman-y kind of thing, I'll probably just end up going back to Hitman 3. actually trying to finish that game. Because
it's completely different to Hitman. Like, it's Hitman provides you with, here is a level, do the level. Fuck around as much as you like, do it in whatever way you want, but it doesn't build up to the wider like puzzle of the day and having those impacts and things.
Getting someone to like slip off like the Burj Khalifa by putting a banana peel at the end of the roof when they should be parachuting off it, and somehow not being able to release the parachute on their way down and that killing them. That sounds like a culmination of it. That should be the ending of every game.
Video games, mate. Video games.
Yeah. I love that game. So stupid. But yeah, I've been tempted to get back into Hitman because they released that free map. That sounds like an island or some pirate's island.
Yeah, I think Hitman. It's on Game Pass, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hitman 3, and I think I played Hitman whichever year that came out, the rebooted version, and then Hitman 2. I think I've got them on PlayStation, and I think I saw someone say they were playing Hitman 3 through their PlayStation Plus subscription. So I don't know whether it is. I don't know whether it is a game through the extra game catalog. It's another one.
It might be.
It's another one like Powerwash Simulator that I know that as soon as I sort of get into it, that'll be it. Just gone.
I played a bit more this morning, just to unlock a few achievements for my Microsoft Rewards points. But it's just it's just so good. I love that game.
Yeah,
I love the narrative, which I won't spoil for anyone because go into that knowing as little as possible. But it's just so it's very. I don't know what's the right kind of comedic thing. Not one. I wouldn't say Monty Python. It's all these bizarre things happening around you, and you're just there, power washing, just not even paying attention to anything. Silent protagonists and stuff like that. It's just like you're just there, power washing, whilst the most ridiculous things are happening in your periphery, and you're just like, got my job to do. Gotta power wash this car, can't pay attention to the end of the world.
Is it kind of like you're like cleaning up after Jackass have been there doing some stupid things?
I mean, yeah. Like, you're basically like a Bond villain's like cleanup crew. It's not quite as as out there as like you're cleaning up dead bodies. It's not quite like it's sort of like that game where you sit on this, what is it called? Viscera Cleanup Detail, I think that's the name of it. Where you're on this like abandoned spaceship and you're basically coming there after the xenomorph has like torn through it, and you're just like,
blood
okay,
everywhere.
We need to get this ship operational, can you come and clean? And it's like you're cleaning up blood and guts. This sort of has that kind of vibe to it. It's just like, it's very British in that sense. It's just stupid. It's just like, yeah, it's very good. It's very good. I'm glad our friend Steve is playing it because I can't wait for him to get to the ending. It's secretly the best narrative this game. Forget Citizen Sleeper. Trash. Powerwash Simulator.
Is it how long is it?
Oh, it's long.
Okay.
Some of those jobs, I think when you go into it, like even like the second or third job, you're like, oh yeah, I can do this, and then it's like, oh Christ, this took about 3 hours.
Wow.
And then some of the other ones, I mean, you unlock better tools as you go, and that there's like one end game tool which like changes everything. It's just like, dirt. You're nothing to me now. But they take several hours. It's like multi-day affairs for me, especially. Although I have just sat and played it for like 5 hours straight.
Yeah.
It's so good. But yeah, I think it's fantastic. But, just Into the Breach for me at the moment. Mainly. It's very good. I think that would be a great game for you, Ben, to play at the moment, because it is very dip in, dip out. I mean, haven't had any crashes. I think even if it crashes, like, it just pops you right back into the scenario that you were in anyway. But it's very pick up and go. So
yeah, and I'm looking for something else to play on my phone as well. So as long as
I definitely recommend it.
As long as it's supported on there, then yeah, I think I might jump into it. I think I played the
should be
like first couple of levels when it first came out. I think I've got it on Steam, but I don't think I ever really got into it.
No, I didn't. Like the first time I played it, I think I spoke about it briefly last week. I wanted to play it to see why Adil liked it. It was very much one of those in Game of the Year contention and stuff like that, and it's I need to see what this is. And it's like, okay, I get it. It's a very good game, but I didn't dig into it. And you don't really need to dig into it that much. It's like, once you just pay attention to, like, you know, the tutorials, and it doesn't even take that long. I think I was just being very impatient at the time. It's like half an hour of your time, and it's like, it is very much learn by playing more and more. I've been playing it on easy. I think that's the best way to get started with it. And I'm like going through all the different character classes at the moment, and then I think I started a normal playthrough today, and see, I'll probably just drop it back down to easy because it is something that is like, I don't want to feel punished. I just want to have the enjoyment of a fun puzzle game. Because the thing I don't like about, you know, strategy games is they are punishing sometimes. But yeah, just hop into it and, you know, just give it half an hour of your time and drop it down to easy and learn by playing through it. It's like it has got permadeath, but that's really not an issue. It's like you can carry over, you know, if you beat the game, roll credits after like destroying bugs on like 5 islands or whatever. You can take a pilot over to your next playthrough, but that's immaterial. Sometimes it's like, I don't really want to, because I just want to play with a complete different character class and see how things work out in that way, and that's the enjoyment of the game. It's like an endless puzzle game. So yeah, if people go into it with that frame of mind, because I went into it going, this is a roguelike, and I need to finish it, and it's like, that's not what it is. It's just a puzzle game, you know. It's like doing Sudoku every morning. It's going to be different. Nothing carries over. Doesn't matter. It's just a fun puzzle game, you know. So.
There was another game that came out at a similar time, which was another one about like mechs, and it was a bit more like Into the Breach is a grid-based experience. This was kind of like open map, still strategic. I don't know, that suddenly just jumped into my mind. I've got no idea what the game was called.
No, I don't remember this.
I'm sure it came out around the same amount of time, because I can always remember thinking like, oh, there's two kind of mech games out at the moment. Which one should I play? And I think I just didn't play either of them. But I can't find, and I can't search it, because I don't know what year it was. What year was it?
2018.
Is it 18?
The Breach came out, yeah.
A
while ago.
I can't.
Do you know what platform it was? Was it PlayStation? Switch?
I think I played it on PC.
Okay.
But I don't have anything on here that would that would suggest that. So
not
I got no idea.
Coming to me. No. But yeah, I'd recommend checking out Into the Breach. You got a bit of time. Because it's just like I've been doing overtime at work and stuff like that. It's just like, how do I want to relax? I just want to sit down and play Into the Breach on my tablet.
Nice.
It's good.
Yeah. I did have a little bit of a kind of or a couple of very small sessions with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater remake. I'm fucking shit. That muscle memory is gone.
Really?
Yeah, completely gone. I don't know whether it's from playing.
Is it a PlayStation Plus game?
Yes, it was this month. Yeah. And I don't know whether it's been playing Rollerdrome, which has similar controls. They've made the controls very similar in how that works.
That makes me even more excited for it.
Which makes sense, absolutely. Like, how should we base our, control structure on how you grind and do grabs and all that sort of stuff? Well, like Ollie Ollie World and Tony Hawk's. So, absolutely. I can still feel, and I still know what I'm meant to be doing. I just am so rubbish at trying to do it. Like, I'll just, do...
But the muscle memory's still there, so you got to give yourself credit. You know what the buttons are. You know
a little bit. And I'm like, I know that I need to, on whichever level it is, like the city level, where I've got all the popcorn buckets. I'm like, I've got to get the one that's on the top of the billboard. Yeah, I can just hold up, and I'll just ride up that little bit more. And if I get enough, I jump at just the right time. I can just nestle my board on the edge of the thing and collect the bucket and then go back down. And I'm like, I'll do it once out of 10 times.
The thing is, give yourself some credit, because those are meant to be the most challenging things in the game. Like, even me, I'm not trying to big myself up or anything, but I'm pretty good at Tony Hawk, and I continued that muscle memory through to adult life, which is sad and worrying on one hand, pretty impressive how the human brain works.
Absolutely, very impressive.
It's why I could never play Scathe. I was just like, this is not Tony Hawk, what are you doing? But I think the enjoyment is, it's a shame that you're getting to it this late, because the enjoyment that I had in the remake, not only just seeing those levels from childhood and like hearing that soundtrack again, but it was playing online actually, and just absolutely slaughtering all the noobs. But now that it's like just clearly just good people playing, getting millions on the scoreboard within a minute and a half, and I'm like there on like 500,000 or something like that. And it's just like, I can't roll with the big leagues. But even then, it's still just, I just ignored everybody else, even on online, and it's just like, it's just fun to play, and just fun to skate around those sandboxes, and the different games. Like, I don't think they had a horse in this game online or whatever, but just like the one where you tag all the different bits in the levels. It's like, I know where nobody's gonna go. I know all the little things that tag. That was the enjoyment. But they just completely abandoned like the online, and you're thinking, Activision, of all people, who would just love to scam money out of you, selling you, skins. How did they not support this?
Absolutely.
But we know why. They just didn't. It wasn't a cash cow like Call of Duty. And if something isn't, they just send those people into the mines to work as a Call of Duty support studio. It's sad.
And they dropped the 3 and 4 remake as well, didn't they?
And that pains me. It makes me want to cry, because maybe not popular opinion, but 4 is my favourite. That's when it completely went into like, this is stupid jackassery, because it was at the same time as Jackass. And
was Johnny Knoxville a character in it, or Steve-O or someone like that?
I mean, Bam.
Oh no, Bam, yeah,
good old
Bam,
Bam,
Skate, wasn't he? Yeah.
But yeah, just that. I don't know. Growing up in the early 2000s was very good and very bad, but this is very good.
It is, and I'm very surprised at the expanded soundtrack for it as well. Tons of songs coming up, and I'm like, this wasn't on the original game. I'm enjoying it. They got like a Billy Talent song that's on there, and I really like Billy Talent, so I'm like, oh cool, I like this one. And then some what's it called, Machine Gun something. And I'm like, well, Machine Gun Kelly. This is a bit of an odd choice. Like they've tried to make it. It feels like they tried to make it a little bit more broader in the kind of soundtrack.
Yeah.
For people, rather than it being just essentially just like a punk soundtrack.
They always had hip hop and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think they didn't get like Public Enemy for the remake, which annoys me. It makes me very sad. But it very much melded well with the old soundtrack, because some of them I was just like, is this an old one or is it a new one? Because it's been so long. It's just like, it just fit in really well. Vicarious Visions knew what they were doing. Just very talented developers.
Oh, absolutely. They're definitely the right people to have brought that product out. And it is a real shame that 3 and 4 didn't get put out as well. Because I know that we've talked about it before, how easy it would have been for them to actually have made a platform and kept adding and saying, like, oh, buy the next one, it's 15 quid. You've already got the base, you've bought Tony Hawk's Remastered. You get the first game for it for 15 quid. Give us enough for 15 quid, you get the second game. Give us another 10 quid, you get the third game. Give us 5 quid, you get the fourth game. And here are all the skins. Here is all of the stuff. Here's extra song packs. Here's all of these kinds of things. Like, they absolutely could have done that, and people would have just eaten it up.
Absolutely. And I have faith. I mean, never have faith in a corporation, but I have more faith that Microsoft will actually do something with that IP. Even if they don't revisit 3 and 4, just give me some Tony Hawk.
It'll be the board peripheral one, won't it? What is it? Ride?
Yes. Even that at this point. You
can use your Kinect. Don't even have to have the board. Just stay on there. Just moving back and forward,
yeah.
like, yep,
I
I can skateboard,
mine.
I've got it.
Yeah, I'll be the only one playing it, because, yeah, nobody else will connect anymore.
Just jump in the air for an ollie, like...
They're buried, like, where the EC cartridges are. But yeah, because I think a few of, like, some of Activision's, like, old stuff, is it, like, maybe Hexen and some other crap like that, where I think what they've done is, for the insiders, I heard this on the podcast, like, the insiders, it might have been Digital Foundry or something, Microsoft or Xbox Insiders group or whatever the hell it's called, where they've just, like, released, like, they've just dumped the files on, like, that, on an, like, PC Insider app, and it's like, just launch, MS-DOS and go play these old Activision games, and it's like, if someone's, I mean, it's probably somebody's passion project, it's probably like, because I know Phil Spencer said they like, oh yeah, Hexen, whatever, but it's probably like some 45-year-old dude just like asking, it's like, when is this deal going through? When are we going to buy Activision so I can bring Hexen to MS-DOS or something?
It's like one of the people on that like back catalogue team. It's just like, yep, I'm ready.
Yeah,
I know exactly
He's
what
working
my job is for the next
overtime.
2 years.
Yeah, he or she's working overtime. They're like, I'll do this in my own time. Don't even pay me.
Yep.
I just want to bring this into the world. So it brings me hope that these dead IP might have a second chance of life. But
It's almost one of the only benefits to that kind of deal, to Microsoft picking up Activision, at least from a consumer kind of point of view, is that preservation, is them having Game Pass and being able to bring older games back, or even if it's not like a remastered version, it's just a version which will run on Windows 10, 11 and going forward kind of thing, that they've been able to bring the code over to run on these sorts of new operating systems, rather than people having to fuck around with older versions of DOS or whatever they're kind of trying to do. So that kind of again, I agree that it's great in that sort of sense, but I don't actually think there's any games I want to play from Activision's kind of back catalogue.
Yeah, there's probably like one that it's like, oh yeah, I remember this game, I'll check it out for 5 minutes and then never again. But yeah, in terms of that preservation kind of thing, like, I mean, Nintendo do a lot of internal preservation, like they have stuff from like, you remember that big leak, and it's like, we have just notes what developers wrote on, like, I don't know, Yoshi's Island 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like, imagine this universe where Microsoft actually bought Nintendo, or someone who's just like very, like was it Embracer Group who bought the Square Enix IP, and they're just like, they want to build like a video game history library thing, like sort of like the Video Game History Foundation, whatever it is. I think they want to very much go in that space, cynically or non-cynically. Like, it's obviously for profit, whereas something that's like non-for-profit probably better. But say if Microsoft bought Nintendo, and then shame everything, like they're such a creative developer, the end of an era, whatever. But imagine me and you working for Microsoft, and we're like, remember that weird ass NES game that I never even that I haven't played in like 30 years. And, like, Nintendo just have the files, and we can just dump it. Imagine how good that would be. Just
sat on Earthbound Mother 3 or something like
We'd
that.
We'd make a lot of people happy, yeah. Imagine it's just one person who likes Earthbound and just, like, just put the rest in the recycling bin and say Mother 3.
They're just kind of, it's on the shop. We won't tell anybody. It just appears. Just let people discover it by themselves.
Yeah, Control A, delete. Control C, Control V, Mother 3. Done. Yeah. What's this Danky Kang? What's that? Who cares?
What country is this?
Ness from Earthbound? Oh. They'll say Smash Bros. And Earthbound. And
I don't know whether you've even considered kind of playing it. Maybe it's something we'll just finish
Multiverse.
on quickly, but Multiverse.
I've downloaded it on my Steam Deck. Me too. Is that sick? Are we?
I don't know.
Can we not be fixed then?
We're ruined forever. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna play. We just want to play as Scooby Doo and just fucking smash some faces in.
I haven't looked at the roster. It's what is it? WB?
Yeah. Warner Brothers stuff. Yeah. So like Superman.
Yeah,
Batman,
I downloaded it.
They've got a couple of other things in there, like Adventure Time characters, Steven Universe stuff. Like there's a few other or what I didn't think was Warner Brothers stuff. Maybe it's buried and owned deep.
Yeah, they probably bought this company years ago for like 300 million, and it's like it's not 7 billion. Who knows? You know,
no one cares. It's fine.
Yeah. So they own Space Jam, but they haven't got Michael Jordan. Is that what it?
No, LeBron, isn't it?
LeBron. Yeah. I downloaded it on Steam Deck. I haven't checked it out. What it actually spurred me to do was play a very bad version of what's it called? X-Men Mutant Academy, which was a fighting game for the original PlayStation. And it came to Game Boy Color because, of course, it did. Released in 2000. I played that just like online, and the sound was bad, and it's like. I'm sure it's because I'm playing it in a very unsuitable way, but this feels trash. But I loved it. I loved it as a kid, you know. But hold on, is Multiverse a platform fight or is it an actual fighting game?
No, it's like it's like a Smash clone.
Well, that makes me less.
Well, yeah. I don't like.
Smash is not even a video game, to be honest. If people call it a fighting game, of like, it's not even being generous, you're just factually incorrect. And when people are like, it's a platform fight, and it's like, well, it's just shit then. Go play a real game, baby.
So maybe listeners won't get to hear us talking about Multiverse, you know, how Lucy's been beating me at Multiverse or anything like that. So it's a free game, isn't it, at the moment? So it's sort of
that's the only thing that enticed me, and maybe playing as Porky Pig or something, I don't know.
They definitely haven't got Porky Pig in it, mate.
Why not?
It's Bugs Bunny, and that's fucking it from that thing.
What about
like,
Tiny Toons?
Everyone else is just that little bit too like racist or otherwise. You know, you can't have Yosemite Sam. Fucking, there's tons of them. You just cannot. Fucking
really,
touch.
I kind of love Yosemite Sam. Now look here, boy, or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's exactly what he says. Yeah, look here, boy.
Yeah, boy. Go cut me some timber. I don't know. I don't know.
Are we doing Yosemite Sam or Foghorn Leghorn? I don't know. Where have we gone?
I don't know. Yes, Foghorn Leghorn. It doesn't confuse. Foghorn. Yes, Foghorn Leghorn is who I love. Yeah. You see, imagine if you just got the little chick to do all his.
It's a good place for us to finish on our slight Looney Tunes inaccuracies. Lucy, let's come back around to the beers then.
I'm glad you corrected me. This is how we know we've done this too long, where you know that my very bad impression is Foghorn Leghorn instead of Yosemite.
Every impression you do is Foghorn Leghorn. I think that's the key. Like.
I love him. Yes, Little Monster and Pipeline. Still supping on it, but yeah. Very good, very good. Very well balanced. It's got a very smooth, very easy kind of journey through it, I guess. Medium bodied, well rounded, well balanced. Really enjoyed it. Got a nice bit of bitterness, not too overwhelming. Nice bit of fruit, also not too overwhelming. Just a really well rounded, well made beer, to be honest. There's not really much more to say than that.
Good, no, that's fair.
Very good.
That's fair. And I think my comments earlier stand as well. I drank it pretty swiftly. But it was quite a clashy kind of beer, you know, with these different sort of flavours going on, as is the can. The thing that stuck around the most, I think, were those slightly more mango tropical fruits, but it did keep that kind of maybe slightly berry, slightly grape sort of flavour to it. as well. The citrus was the thing that kind of faded the most, I think. But it remained really nice kind of throughout the beer. So it's something that if it was on tap somewhere, I would have a little 2/3 or something of it. Definitely something I would drink again, which is good. And that was the Attic and New Bristol Brewery Heavy Blow New England IPA. So, friends, if you want to tell us whether you're playing Multiverse as whatever characters are in that, or what else,
I'm sorry, but they should just add the whole of the Looney Tunes.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, because like I always, now that I remember who Yosemite Sam is, I always just like he's the more batshit crazy version of Elmer Fudd.
Yes,
I was just like, add Elmer Fudd too, add them all. Like, why wouldn't you at this point?
Completely. So you can tell us whether you're playing Multiverse, whether there's other Looney Tunes characters you'd like to be included in the game. At TankedUpCast on Instagram and on Twitter. I'm at Nova_47, and Lucy is
Juicy Loose 9.
If you want to play Multiverse with us, or talk to us about any of the other games that we have discussed today. If you've got any beer recommendations, again, get in touch, let us know, and come to the Out of Lives Discord as well. Come to us and chat about beer or video games or what you've been watching. We've got to have another conversation about Prey, because I managed to actually watch it last night. I have very similar thoughts to you, Lucy, which we might touch on maybe on an episode when Adul's watched it and we're all kind of together, perhaps.
Average at best.
I really want a good Predator game now. As you kind of mentioned last night, it'd be great to have a good, not that 4v1 Ilphonic one. I want something
immersive sim, because I thought they were talking about Prey.
Yes.
Like their stuff. Yeah, like that. Yeah, the remake of Prey. Prey 2, whatever. Pray Tell.
Pray Tell, good, yes, that's the next one. It's set in Shakespearean times.
Can you imagine?
What doth this man want?
That's basically Dishonored.
Just beheads him.
You've just described Dishonored.
Yeah. Perfect. Right. That's an excellent place for us to leave you all today. We have been Tanked Up. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. You wascaline wabbits, you.
Oh.
www.outoflives.net